Hi everyone, my name is Firda.
I'm Steffano
So we would like to talking about working culture in Indonesia.
versus Australia. So I was a chef.
So I'm working as an HR for 1 year in Australia right now, and I also have experience for working as a marketing in Indonesia for 7 years before. So how you get paid, Stefano?
Well, it's depending on the job you have. It can go in on weekly or it can be fortnightly.
So what's the meaning of fortnightly?
So every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So there is a weekly, fortnightly, and also monthlies. But in Australia, I think like it's very common for bi-weekly.
It's more common weekly, but depending on the job, then it can be fortnightly.
Yeah, and also how about the minimum wage in here?
Minimum wage, I think, is $24 an hour.
Yeah, so it's $24 for minimum wage in Australia, and also it's depend on your status. You are full time, casual. So what's the difference of full time and casual, Stefano?
So full time, generally, you work up to about 38 hours, and then anything over that, you get overtime. So your pay will be, let's say your pay is $35 an hour. Then they'll add time and a half or double time, depending on how many hours you've done over your 38 hours. And you get more money. So, yeah.
And also, I think like the benefit of full time get like sick leave and also annual leave, isn't it?
Yeah, you get that each week. You get a certain amount of sick leave and annual leave and long service leave.
So as a full time, you have guaranteed hours weekly.
Full time and part time, you have guaranteed hours, and you can go beyond those hours if you want to.
And meanwhile, as a casual, you don't have any guarantee hours. But the good thing as a casual, you get 25% casual loading. That's mean if the minimum wage is $24, so $24 plus 25% for casual loading. So you get paid more than the full-timer staff, isn't it?
Yeah, but the problem with it is that your employer can call you up. I think there's a rule which is basically, it's 2 or 3 hours.
Minimum 3 hours.
Minimum 3 hours
Per day.
that they can call you and say, we don't need you.
Yeah.
So if you meant to start at 3 o'clock and they call you at 12 o'clock and say, we don't need you for that night, then they can cancel your shift.
Yeah, so
you never
funny
guaranteed.
thing, working in Australia, so the company or the restaurant, it's working based on the customer or based on the order. If they have like a big order, so they need more casual people to fill the shift because they need more worker. Meanwhile, if they're not busy, they can cut you anytime for the casual.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for the full time,
They get those
guarantee hours. So that's the pro and cons between full time and also casual.
So depending on what job you want to do, some jobs you can get into, like let's say retail or working in a supermarket or working like a bookstore, you don't need a certificate. But then jobs where it's like you might want to work in construction, you might need to get something like a white card. Or if you want to work in food and hospitality, you'd have to do occupational health and safety for food certificates to get into that. So
you also have certificate 3 for cookery, isn't it?
Yes. So if you want to become a chef, for example, you could do certificate 4, I think it is, certificate 3, and then there's also certificate 2 is cook's level. So there's that.
Yeah. So it's depend on your occupation.
Yeah.
So if you want like get more money, so there is a minimum wage, right? And then if you have more qualification, so you can get more pay. So it's depend on the job. So if you want get more money, you need to have more qualification. That's simple.
Most of the time, yeah. But sometimes you might work in the kitchen, for example, and you might be very, very good without the certificate. And the boss might go, oh, I'll pay you more money because you can do all these things
That's really interesting in Australia because
it doesn't happen all the time, but because some bosses are
but
stingy.
in Australia, I feel like if you perform more, like your boss will notice, and then you will get more job, more hour, more rate. So if you perform well, and also if you not perform well, you can like bye-bye anytime. That's really scary. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, so you're working like always every day, Monday to Friday, and then you get paid by monthly. And it's not like here, like today you're working, tomorrow you're not working. So it's depend, like really different culture about the timing itself. About the payment, when we get paid, do you think it's enough for living in Australia? Because a lot of people say Australia, it's damn expensive.
We have a very high tax rate in Australia, so that sucks. But at the same time, it's easier than most countries. But at times you feel like I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I mean, you can definitely save a lot of money in Australia. But you have to have a budget and you have to stay with that budget. Whereas like Indonesia, it's like, I mean, you make $400. I mean, the minimum wage in Indonesia a month is about $400. Where like your rent here is higher, grocery bills are high at the moment. Petrol prices have just gone up because of Trump. Yeah, so I mean, at the moment things are harder. But it's still a lot easier than if you were living in, say, Indonesia at the moment.
I feel like what I feel when I working in Australia compare Indonesia, when I get paid, like my wage is finished before like in couple days, because like what I need as a sandwich generation, I need to support my family, I need to support my sister. So it's really hard to collecting the money. It's really hard to saving the money. Meanwhile, in Australia, you not be rich yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's hard. I think it's hard to be rich in Australia. Isn't it?
I mean, the more money you make, the more you get taxed because there's different brackets.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I mean, when I was younger and I worked, I did a contract job where I went to Phillip Island for 3 months, and I didn't have to pay the job paid for everything, so I didn't pay rent, and I was making about $2,000 a week or something crazy like that because I was doing tons of hours. I saved a lot of money doing that because I didn't have to worry about too much about expenses too much. Whereas now it's like I'm renting a house. I've got power bills, I've got water bill, I've got internet bill, phone bills, all these bills that add up per month. And I take it each week. I take so much out of my pay and I put it towards the bills, so it's already ready to go when I get there. Also, car insurance, car maintenance. So it's like the more you have, the more expensive you get.
The thing is, I feel like it's more easier to saving the money in here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's expensive, but the gap, what
the
you
gap is
earn
definitely massive.
and then what you spend,
Yeah.
there is like still enough gap for saving.
Yeah.
So that's what I like to working in Australia compared to Indonesia, because like I working in Indonesia for 7 years, even I get money like higher than minimum wage, but still I don't have any saving because it's really hard to saving money in Indonesia.
Yeah, I mean, what I was reading about it or looking into it, it was like, like when I went to Indonesia with Australian dollars, you have a lot of money. Then but if you lived over there and you worked on rupiah and you lived on the rupiah, you wouldn't have much money, and then any savings you have, I could just imagine like if you have to go to the doctors or something, that's just gonna blow your savings out. It's gone. So it's a different. Here it's like going to the doctor is $100 to see a doctor.
But you get paid more.
Yeah, we get paid a lot more, so you don't really worry about it as much.
Yeah.
Whereas if Indonesia, if you have to go see a doctor and you have to pay $100, or I don't know what it is in rupiah. But if you have to pay $100, that's, a big chunk of your pay already gone.
Well, in here, like you get, even like when you're working only like 3-5 hours a day, you still have bare minimum life.
Well, I mean, I could work 2 days here, or maybe a day and a half, and I make what somebody in Indonesia makes.
Yeah.
In a month.
Yeah.
So it's a very different thing.
Yeah. How about the taxes for working holiday visa holder? Usually you get tax since $0. So 0 until 45 grand, 45,000 dollar, Australian dollar, you get 15% tax, and after that you will get like more bracket. I think about 30% or something. And meanwhile, for the
Australian citizen, I think it's 15 to 18 grand you get taxed per year. And generally it's about 32% of your pay, meaning that, so I think the 30% goes to the government and they spend it where they want to spend it. And then there's a 2%, 2.5%, which goes to Medicare. So if I have to go to the doctors, if I have to go to the hospital tomorrow, I'd have to pay to go to the hospital because I already paid through tax. So there's that.
Yeah. So in Australia, for citizen, permanent resident, they get Medicare or BPJS. So in Indonesia, names BPJS. So BPJS, like it's same like Medicare. So the government supports you to go to hospital, and it like they cover. And yeah, meanwhile, in here also has Medicare. So that's a privilege because I think have Medicare really nice, isn't it?
Medicare, yeah, that's good to have. So, I mean, like, because you don't have to think about, how am I going to pay for this hospital bill or something? Because because sometimes you get a hospital bill and it could be something like 10 grand, but you don't necessarily have to pay for it because Medicare is already paying for it. You're already paying for it through your Medicare.
Yeah, and for you that coming here with visa, student visa, working holiday visa, so I suggest you have your medical private insurance. So it can like make you safety when something should happen to you. So you have.
Yeah, you can go to the doctors. You don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay for this.
Yeah, because you're working here and then you get sick. And one of my friend has operation and it costs 10 grand.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have Medicare or she doesn't have a private insurance.
Yeah.
So that's really sad, like 10 grand.
Yeah, like, well, when I was in hospital, I mean, I was in hospital for 2 weeks. I got looked after. I got 3 meals a day and I was comfortable. And, the doctors were great. So I mean, if we didn't have Medicare, it'd be like, you'd have to have private health insurance of some kind. But
Yeah.
I mean, private health insurance is not cheap, unfortunately.
Yeah, like me. I mean, like I have a minimum private insurance. It's not that expensive. Only like $50 a month. So you can like have like when you're going to doctor, so they will pay you even like not 100%, but it's good than nothing.
They pay a big chunk out of it for you.
Yeah, and also if when I do a blood test, they pay me 100%.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. And also in Australia have superannuation.
Yep. So yeah, we can put money into a special bank account which we can't take out of, or we have different companies do it, but basically, I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah, so in Indonesia, superannuation is BPJS Ketenagakerjaan. So we also have superannuation, but in here, the superannuation, a lot of company manage superannuation.
Yeah.
So you can choose which company that you like.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Indonesia, it's only run by governance. That's it.
Yeah. So the super I'm with, for example, is called Host Plus, but then there's another one where it's like, what's the one you're with?
When
Combank, but like she does it through her bank instead.
Yeah.
But the way
Essential Super.
Yeah, Essential Super. But the way it works is that so much money when you sign up to a company here, or when you sign up with a job, you nominate your super, then your job will send so much money out of your pay per week to your super. And then that way, when you get older and stuff, you have money to retire with. But I think you have to wait until I think it's 68 now, I think, in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, you can't touch it before
that.
They won't
Like
let
the
you.
retirement age in Indonesia, it's 55.
Yeah. So in Australia, it's a bit older. But I think, I don't know, you can touch it under certain circumstances. I think they're allowing you now to do it if you want to buy a house, or if you have to have dental work, or extremely hard financial times, they'll let you touch super then. but you have to have a very good reason. You can't just go, I need 10 grand for a car. They won't let you do it.
Usually they pay you, like they pay super, so you got salary. So from your salary, it's plus I
super.
think 11% now, 11 or 11.5.
Depends on the company.
Depend on the company.
But you can also choose. So you can say like, I want to, like you might go, excuse me, then you might go to a job where it's like, usually it's 9%. But then you might go to a job and you might say to your job, hey, can I make my super 20%?
Yeah.
And they'll take it out of your pay.
Yeah, deduct.
So they'll deduct, and deduct it from your wage. A lot of people do that early on because when they get older, then they have a lot more money. But it's called salary sacrifice. Basically, you're taking so much more, a bit more out of your money. So when you're older, you can you have more. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So this is the working culture in Australia and versus Indonesia. If you want to ask more about working culture or living in Australia, please comment below.
Yeah. See you guys.